Hey YouTube, welcome to today's video. So the question I want to answer in today's video is, does the Gladiator make for a good dad truck? I'm going to discuss the criteria by which I'm judging that later on in the video. Before we get into the main topic of the video, I want to give the Gladiator a quick wash because, well, it's filthy. Uno, dos, tres. So we've got the Gladiator all clean, it's looking much better. It just got really dirty. We've actually been driving it around quite a bit here, just even over the last week. So I'm getting close to 1,300 miles in this thing, which for me is quite a bit of miles. I'm not even on, quite 2 months yet, just about to 2 months. That's quite a bit of miles for me, because if you've seen my previous videos, I don't have a commute where I'm driving this every day. However, this week I did get a chance to do a little bit of commuting with it, just because the development team that I work with, we had some actual in-person meetings, which we hadn't got to do in quite a bit here in Kansas City. So like I said, I got to commute in a couple days. We're talking 20-25 minute drive on the interstate, and then a little bit of city driving get to the office space where we get together. So just going back to the last video that I filmed, talking about the the driving experience and how comfortable this was. I maintain the same after having to commute with this for a couple days, that this is just as comfortable for me to commute as just kind of just put around town, which I normally do with it. It really all just comes down to personal preference, and I love this thing, but it's going to be one of those things that you either love it or hate it once you drive it. So, alright, so getting on to the main topic of today's video, which is this a comfortable dad truck? So if you haven't watched this channel before, I am a soon-to-be dad of two. I have a 3-year-old boy and then another boy on the way in October. So when I talk about dad trucks, what criteria am I basing this on? And I'm going to say it's really going to be 3 things. Number 1, is it comfortable to drive? Number 2, can I haul my kids around? And number 3, can I haul my stuff and all their stuff around? So number 1 on, is this comfortable to drive? I covered this topic very in depth in the last video. So I'm going to link that above. So if you wanted to see more about that, make sure and check that video out. So just to kind of add one more thing to that, just to give you a gauge, I'm 6'5". I fit in this thing very comfortably, even though it's more of a narrow vehicle. I know in watching Hoovie's Garage review his Gladiator Rubicon Launch Edition that he used to have, he had mentioned just how uncomfortable he found the truck. He talked about his head kind of hitting up on the speaker and stuff, but with the seating position I'm in, I haven't had that issue. That was one thing I was a little concerned about with getting the truck, but comfort-wise, I haven't found that to be a problem. Now, if we're talking back support, maybe it is lacking just a little, but I mean, that's comparing it to my wife's BMW X5, which, I mean, it's a luxury vehicle. I wouldn't expect the seats in this to compare to that. But other than that, as I've said, I find this extremely comfortable to drive. So that's a check for number 1. We'll move on to number 2, can I haul the kids around? So coming around to the back seat to discuss this next part. So from what I understand, the seats in the Gladiator don't come back quite as far as they do in the Wrangler. which I would say is bad for those in the front seat, but good for anybody you're hauling around in the second row. You see we've got my 3-year-old's car seat set up in here. Very easy to get that hooked up, and he ends up with, as you can see, plenty of legroom in this truck. Now I'm going to pull this seat forward and show you guys. You can see you've got the tethers down here at the bottom, and then another one there behind the seat. You've got one in the middle, and a third one would be over on the other side, but I'm not going to pull that out. So theoretically you could fit 3 car seats back in here with one in the middle. Could be a little tight, but me, where I've just got the 2, that's definitely going to be plenty of room to haul our family around in. So for me, this gets a pass on being able to get the kids around. As I said, if you have 3, it may be a little tight, but you know, anything other than that, I still think you're going to find this to be extremely comfortable for the family. So the only area of major discomfort I would just warn people about, and this is just something to be aware of, and just goes with the, you know, the nature of this vehicle being able to be a convertible, is when you're at high speeds, don't expect to have, you know, a conversation with people once you get up to highway speeds, because there is going to be a fair amount of wind noise. What you're probably going to want to do is just kind of crank up the stereo, which it's good. This comes with a really loud stereo, which works really well. I think the other option is there are some insulation kits to kind of take care of some of that wind noise in the roof. I may be looking into one of those at some point, and we'll do an install and give you guys an idea of how that affects the noise level in the cabin, if that, you know, really makes a big difference or not. So one thing to be aware of, and I was not when I first got this, if you're already familiar with Jeeps, you may already know this, but if not, if you want to know how to engage the child safety lock in the second row of the doors, you open the door and there's this little, you see this mechanism, this unlock and lock icons here. All you do to engage this is pull out this little, there's a little plastic stopper there. As you can see in there, there's a spot for a key. To change that, you just stick in your Jeep key and either turn that to the top, that's off, and then have it in the middle. There you'll see it's engaged. So yeah, I actually had to look that one up because I didn't know how that engaged. Usually it's, you know, the controls for that are up in the front, but just one thing to be aware of, if just in case you're like me and not familiar with where that is and how to turn that on. That's how you do that. Alright, so covered that I find this comfortable, haul the kids around on, so that's a check for number 2. The number 3 thing I had mentioned going over was being able to haul all of their stuff around, because they have a lot of it. Now if you have little kids, you'll have some access on the floor here where you can store some bags or whatever you're hauling around. If you only have one car seat in here, you can flip this side up and you'll have access to this little box where you can store some stuff here underneath the seat. Now keep in mind, if you have a second car seat over on this side, then you're going to lose that storage unless you want to take that on and off each time, which as we know can be a pain. So the other storage spot you have in the Gladiator is the bed, and for the most part is it a pretty decent size. Now one of you mentioned in the comments on one of the videos that the bed was a little short for a cooler, and I can and that's just with the tonneau cover on, and I can show you on mine, it just barely fits. It was a really tight squeeze to actually fit that under the tonneau cover. So just keep in mind, if you have this cover from the factory, you're going to need a shorter cooler to make that fit in here. And that's maybe really my only gripe overall with the bed. It's a pretty decent sized bed. it could just maybe be a little bit taller. Now I would definitely prefer this to most full-size pickups nowadays, where they're so tall that you can barely reach over into them and pull stuff out. This is, I would definitely take this over having that problem. But maybe just having a little bit taller of a bed would have made it a little more usable as far as storage goes. But like I said, overall this has been plenty of space for hauling groceries, hauling bags, and all that stuff around. I find it works very well. Definitely glad I have a bed liner from the factory, keep you from getting that all scratched up, and then also a soft tonneau cover. Now, one thing with this soft cover is there is no way to lock it. So if you are planning on traveling and storing your luggage in the back, keep in mind that if you're stopping anywhere, you're not going to be able to actually lock that. So just something to keep in mind with that. So going back to the main topic question of the day, do I find this to be a good dad truck? For me, it checks all the criteria. So in short, yes, I do find this to be a good dad truck. It fits me and my family very comfortably, and we definitely enjoy riding around in this thing. So that will conclude the main topic of our video today. As always, appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. If you enjoyed the topic of today's video, be sure to let me know down in the comments. Now, actually for this weekend, I had a totally different video planned and in mind. So me and my wife had scheduled just kind of a long weekend getaway in Manhattan, Kansas to just get away a little bit before, our son's scheduled to be here in October. And as part of that trip, we were going to go out to Tuttle Creek Off-Road Park and get this thing off-road, and plan to do a video covering that. So unfortunately, with her being 30 weeks pregnant, she is not feeling up well, and we just found it wasn't worth the risk to risk traveling with her at this point. No issues or anything like that, just definitely being on the cautious side. So we're going to put a rain check on Tuttle Creek, but definitely something we will be getting to in the future. But with that being said, I've still got a whole bunch of content planned for the channel, so lots more coming. Stay tuned. Either this next video or it might actually be the one after that. I've got something very special coming to the channel, so looking forward to sharing that with you guys once that gets here. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. Guys, as always, appreciate you stopping by and watching, appreciate the support, and I will catch you guys in the next video.